Ugh. 2.5 minutes or so of just unbroken silence. Perfect. That's what all podcasts should be.
Three, two, one.
0.
Hi, and welcome back to Black Sabbath 2. I mean, Overheard and UniSFA, a UniSFA podcast. I'm John. I'm here with my good buddy Cam.
Hi,
and our
I'm
guest
Cam.
for this week, who is...
That's John.
Yeah, so that's our guest for this week.
Yeah.
It's the 20th episode special. It's the 20th episode anniversary. It's
Yeah.
also the last episode of the year.
God damn.
Yeah,
What a year it has been.
The year ends in 3 days.
The year
It has
ends
been
in
a
30
year.
seconds.
2022 was one of the years of all time.
Last one.
I'm contesting that fact, actually. if the
2022
year
is
committee-
the final year as far as I've seen. I don't think they've made the next one yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen the next one yet.
I've heard it's going to be released soon, but they don't have long, right?
Yeah, I haven't really seen any trailers or anything.
I've
There's
seen some
people...
trailers.
Really?
Nothing good.
Nah. I've seen a lot of hype for it, at least.
Yeah.
A lot of people are getting hyped. They're, going, see it day one.
Oh, yeah, there's some, midnight release parties and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I think I'll go to a midnight release party. I was organizing some with friends. I don't know about the hype. We'll see if it's good. I think they really need to make some New Year's. I feel like for the past, I don't know, 2,000 years or so, they've just been doing this,
Oh, it's been longer than that.
I think they need to make a new IP, this one.
Right? And the release schedule's just getting relentless, right? You'd think at this point they could put something else in between, give us a little bit of a break, but no. The 1 year ends, bam, next year.
They're like
Every
Pokemon
time.
games or COD games, right?
Yeah, it's
I
clear the
think
devs are so rushed
I think
and so
the
overworked.
year developers should really just take some time to avoid the crunch and just take 3 length of times to put out a good one,
Yeah,
because I feel
right.
like the recent ones they've had some nice features, but they've been lacking.
I think
lacking
the
overall.
the year devs should unionize.
I think the year devs should unionize. I think they should make sure to get good
The problem
services,
is,
wages from their boss.
They
God.
They don't need to do any better because, if the new year drops, people will get it, right?
Yeah. People are gonna get the new year. Everyone fucking gets the new year. They just can't help themselves.
Yeah. People be like, I can stop any time I want.
I think
but
it's
they
because
can't,
I
right?
think I think it's because because of the crunch, it makes a cycle of the current one is so bad. Everyone's like, surely the next one
Yeah, right.
can't be any worse. I got to get the next one because I'm sick of this current one, and then it doesn't end up being that much better usually, or it's slightly better,
it's
but
different, right?
it's different.
The design's the same.
They use the same core formula every
Yeah.
year, right? And then every 4 years or so, they'll mix it up a bit.
Get
But
that
it's not
extra
a
day in there, maybe if they get a little bit of bonus time to work out.
It's not enough to really mix it up.
No,
I think they should really work around with the months. I think
I think they
10-day
should,
months or 20-day months or something.
I
Or,
think February could use a buff.
I think the thing is they always mix around with the February balancing and then they always revert it.
Yeah,
Because some people get born on the weird February buffs and then
yeah, no,
they end up being 3. They end up being 3 it's 20 patches later and then they're still 3.
I think they should reintroduce Smarch.
Smarch?
Yeah, Smarch.
Space March?
The 13th month.
Smart, yeah.
Lousy weather though.
What's the weather like in Smarch?
Smarch weather.
What do you call the? Okay, what do you call the bit between Christmas and New Year's?
Oh, the liminal week?
The liminal week, is that the word for it in English?
I mean, there's no official word for it. Immediately, I've run through if you had to make me call it something, it's the liminal week or the taint.
I heard the taint of the year.
Yeah,
Why does that feel so perfect for it?
it's because that's what it is.
Yeah, I've heard it referred to today as between years. It's like the kind of buffer limbo where you're like, it's basically 20 the next year, right? Well, like we're still here, but it's basically the next one.
I've been lucky enough to have this week off. Granted, I had to like spend leave on it, which I didn't have a choice about. But that's fine. But like, I don't know. It's a great week for not being expected to do anything, and I think the difference between like having like time off where you have shit to do and time off where you don't have shit to do is so big, right?
It's really big, yeah.
It's larger than that.
Uni ending and then being like, crap, I've got all this other stuff I was like putting off because I was like, I've got exams, I don't need to do this, and then
I've actually had like the most. I don't want to say productive, right? Because it's not about being productive. I've gotten a lot of shit done that I specifically wanted to do for fun. I've painted all my Death Guard because I've been painting like Warhammer minis that I've had for years, right? And I wanted to get my eye back in on the dudes that if I fuck them up, it's okay. So the Death Guard they're like the gross plague boys. They are like stink merchants.
So if you like fuck up and like do the painting really bad accidentally,
it'll
be like, well, if they're messy, they're gross.
Yeah, no, like straight up, right? And I've learned a lot, but I'm really happy with them. They look fun.
Nice.
And like Jack, my housemate, and I have both been painting a lot, and we've painted. We've done the bases for our first armies now, and we've done them the same way. So our dudes are on the same terrain, right? Like they're on the same colored sand.
That's cool.
And when we make like objective markers and things, we paint it the same kind of thing. So it's like this is a
so
home
it's a
turf
consistent
for
battlefield,
them.
and it's a home. Yeah,
it's neat.
I'd like to rewind. This is us right now. You may be wondering how we got here. Well, it all started back in. Hi, welcome to Black Sabbath.
Zero.
Overheard Eunice. Which is we decided this week because partially because like fuck, we were terrible at getting guests. If you've ever received a message from me. Like 12 hours, like at like 9 p.m. on a Monday being like, hey, do you want to be on the podcast tomorrow? We're not great at getting guests, but also it's the 20th episode. It's the last episode of the year. So I thought we could have a duo episode, right?
We didn't not get a guest this week. We intentionally didn't.
I could have got a guest. Yeah. Like I could have, but I just didn't want to.
We did this on purpose.
And we could have like a little reflection of the podcast and the year. And where we're going and where we've been. So we had 20 episodes. Well, we've had 19 episodes. This will be the 20th episode.
We've done 23, and like some of them just we had to not do.
Yeah. Like the beach episode didn't really work on
Turns
a podcast.
Turns out the podcast
format.
equipment does not like being at the beach.
Turns out it doesn't like being at the beach. And that's why we've only ever done 3-person episodes ever since the 4th one. Because we tried a beach episode and it broke the mic. I've got a sudden urge to just go through every single podcast episode name now.
Okay.
Because I quite enjoy making up the names.
Yeah.
Number 1, God damn it, Doug.
Fucking Doug. You know what? Shout out to Doug. He's been with us this whole thing.
Doug is actually the guest for this week. But I'm still not letting him talk.
Yeah.
I'm still going to cut out everything he says. Ableton, which we use to record, we record each of the audios into separate tracks, and I'm just going to click delete on his afterwards. Episode 2, delete Terraria. Wow.
If we ever stop having Doug around, we will have to change the podcast's name.
Well, finally, Radiohead 2.
No, we're going to have to call it Douglas.
Woo!
Episode
2, delete Terraria. I feel like I segued really well with the delete joke into the delete Terraria joke. I found that episode was really funny. If you go back and listen to one episode of this podcast, listen to episode 2. I thought it was really funny.
Wow. Thanks, John.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cam.
It's alright. Autumn is very, very funny.
Yeah. And Ed's there as well. And I really like Ed's presence on that podcast because it feels like Ed is like a dad trying to catch his like 2 kids.
Ed's a solid straight man.
Yeah, it's like a great straight man on that episode. Episode 3, Anonymity. What Players Is, which is a mockumentary. It's a mockumentary about League of Legends players. Episode 5, Dungeons and Don't. The fun fact about
my favorite recurring bit, honestly. Just don't.
Dungeons
and Do Not.
The thing about that episode is if you look at the YouTube thumbnail, the picture we use for it is like cropped differently. It's like smaller. Like, look, it's smaller just because, I don't know, the editing software just told me fuck you, and I couldn't be bothered, like, restarting. I was like, I guess it's gonna be smaller, I can't be bothered.
That's really funny.
Episode 6, The Joker for Cats. Episode 7, Doxed by Mars. Episode 6, I remember, because that was the first time I...
Doxed by Mars was episode 6?
No, Doxed by Mars was episode 7.
Okay, even then, good god, time.
Yeah. Episode 8, Capital Offense. That was with Fiona. Episode 1 was us and Ed. Episode 2 was me, Autumn, and Ed. Episode 3 was me, you, Chase.
Yep.
Episode 4 was me, you, Merlin. Episode 5 was...
Which was episode 5?
Episode 5 was Dungeons and Dote. It was me, you, Jack.
Yes.
Episode 6 was me, you, Amelia, Jackie. Episode 7 was me, you, Jay. Episode 8, Capital Offense, was me, you, Fiona. Episode 9, Nobody is John, which was you, Texas, and Chase.
Yes.
I like that episode because it had such a different vibe to all the other episodes.
Sad Johnless vibe, but like it's a different vibe.
It felt like just like people just talking about their lives. I don't know, I really liked it.
Without you to give me structure, I am completely unbound. I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds.
Episode 10, Filking Around, which was...
Jade. You mean Jade?
No, that wasn't the Jade episode. Wasn't that the
Really?
Luna episode?
Because Jade brought up Filk music.
No, but that's where I learnt Filk music from.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Luna.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I remember all the episodes.
No, yeah, sorry.
Because I brought up Filk.
I associate the Filk with Jade, which is why I thought that.
No, that was episode...
I hate that it's called
12.
that still.
What, Filking Around?
Filk.
Yeah, Filk music. It's like milk,
Terrible.
but with Fanta in it. Was this brought up before?
Oh,
Maybe.
yes, definitely.
Episode 11, the Star Wars Memorial episode.
Rest in peace.
I like how that was one of the first episodes you named, and it's the one you laughed at. Actually, no, you named episode 5.
That's so fucking, like... okay, I need you to know, every time I have listened to the podcast, like, back, I keep, like... hearing a setup for a thing and like thinking of a joke in my head, and then I'll make the joke on the podcast and I'll be like, ah,
man, this guy's real funny.
I think I'm very funny. Like, I was concerned that listening back to the podcast would make me wish I was dead, but no, it turns out that like that's the most confidence-inducing thing I've ever done.
Oh, okay. I have the opposite thing. I listen to the podcast and be like, oh, I suck on this.
No, dude, we're doing great.
Okay. We get to like average confidence.
I feel like I'm stealing yours. I'm not going to stop.
Welcome back to the Leech Cast. Episode 12, Freaky Friday Joe Biden edition. I just like the name.
Yeah.
That was a really funny episode. Episode 13, Strange Tales of Esports. Episode 14, Going Rogue, Trader. Well, 12 was Jade. 13, 11... Who was on the Star Wars Memorial episode?
Oh, gosh. I should know this. Was it Lexi?
Yeah, it was Lexi, of course. I used to be able to know every episode off by heart, but now they all get mixed up. I could tell you every guest we've had on it, but I couldn't tell you... previous guests who are listening to this podcast, I've not forgotten you on the podcast. I've just forgotten the specific episode you're on.
I can't remember a single goddamn thing.
Episode 13, Strange Tales of Esports, which I believe... No, it's not our most underrated episode. Episode... Strange Tales of Esports had Patrick on it. Episode 14, Going Rogue Trader, which was...
Was that Winslade?
Winslade.
Yep, that lines up.
Episode 15, Christmas episode, which was me, Merlin, and James, Tazza.
Yeah, I couldn't make that one.
I think that was a good episode. I just liked that it was the Christmas episode and it was released, like, in the middle of November.
Yeah.
Episode 16, The Gripe Cast, which was me, Merlin, and...
That might have been me as well. I like the word gripe.
Yes, it was. It was, because that was the Dave...
Yeah, because that was when we went
Episode
meant to have
17,
Dave.
We Live in Big Society.
Yeah, and that was the Dave episode.
That was the Dave episode. So 18, Aphobic Elmer Fudd.
Yeah,
episode...
That was with Umel and... Oh god, I should know these. I don't. I wasn't there. Josh, that's right, yeah.
And episode 19, metalpipe.mp3.
Fucking spectacular.
That was the only one that doesn't have...
Geordie. You mean Geordie.
I'm glad you could remember, like, a week ago, Cam.
Yeah, look, I'm impressed with myself. At all times. But no, I do want to thank everyone who has been a guest or has been, like, around.
Thanks so
stuff.
much,
like,
everyone, for...
Thanks for listening, everyone who is listening right now.
And
If you're not listening to this episode, you don't get thanked. But if you are, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Special thanks to, like... I've mentioned this on a previous episode, but... I I feel like when I notice when we upload the videos, or when I upload the videos, they get like 5 views within 24 hours, and then not every or like 5, about 5, and then not every episode actually goes higher than that. Like the Gripecast and some of those like episodes have like 6 or 7 views. So I want to give a big thanks if you've been like listening like every week, like the day that we upload. Thanks so much, because that's like, I don't know, it keeps us going. It's like I post it and then people listen to it, because we don't get the, you know, when we first released it, everyone was talking about it because it's like the first podcast.
We were really hyping it up.
But like, yeah, it's kind of slowed down as is natural.
The people listen.
But like, yeah, thanks for still listening and like being excited for it. I really appreciate that, people out there. What do we think went well and what hasn't gone that well over the?
I think in general, like, because I came into this with no expectations, right? I was like, if this goes well, that would be fine and good. But if it doesn't, like, you know, I'm here to do it, right? The goal of us initially going in, for those of you at home or on the bus, this is not like an official UniSFA podcast in terms of like for UniSFA. This is us making a podcast with the UniSFA equipment to show people that, like, hey, you can do that.
Yeah,
you're allowed to make a UniSFA podcast, and like to test out the setup, make sure it worked, make sure that like you can make a podcast here.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we did change the name afterwards, and I think
that was an important name change.
It was an important name change, and I still apologize for, I don't know, going a little too grand.
Oh, don't worry about it, man.
With the thing with the naming.
Oh, look, it wasn't like a mistake. It was that we realized that it would be better to give it a different name.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it has gone wildly better than I expected, right?
I'm really glad.
I mean, I've missed a good handful of these, but I've probably done like, what, 15, maybe 16
You've
of them?
done, yeah, I don't feel like you've missed that many. I feel like you've missed like 3, maybe.
I've missed 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which I'm okay with. Like, because it's just been a fucking, like, wild couple of months, really.
Yeah.
God, that is, how many months is that? That's nearly half a year.
The first episode was released. Oh, we don't even know the YouTube. Okay. I'm going to the...
Check, the YouTube date will do.
No, the YouTube date, because it took a while to get YouTube up.
But in any case, like, 20 weeks, right? Because we haven't missed a week at any point, have we? Like, there has been a podcast every week, I think.
Yes, I don't think we have missed a week. The first episode was released on the 19th of the 8th. So we've been
August,
going for about 4 months.
Yeah, goddamn. Yeah, so... Well, just over 4 months, yeah. Sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, like, I think that consistency is huge, right? Like, I'm not good at doing a thing regularly like that.
Yeah.
And scheduling has been a nightmare at times for both of us and
it's
for
been
guests.
A little tricky. I think it's mostly been a bit tricky as we've come out of semester.
Yeah, which you'd think that semester would make it harder, but semester gave us like a rigid schedule we had to do, whereas like since then it's been like, okay, people are organizing things on the days we sometimes do it. And
yeah.
Also because the uni semester, like the club started having screenings on our usual time.
Yeah.
And there, and like, you know, that's fine. This is what it is. And also work.
Because previously committee meetings were on Tuesday afternoons.
Yeah, so we just go after that.
We just go after the committee meeting, but we changed that after the semester ended. And now there's like a screening on at that time. It's good screening, by the way. More people should go to the Hatchetfield screenings. The first, I only went to the first 2 because I haven't caught up with the others. But they're like kind of these horror comedy like things. The first 2 were musicals, and the others were just like live read throughs because I think COVID hit, so they couldn't like do it in musical form, I assume. But they're by like StarKid, who made like very Potter musicals. Whatnot. They're really funny. They're really good. And more people should go to those screenings.
Yeah.
My perspective was, like, I took over looking into podcasting for, you know...
Well, yeah, because we got the equipment a couple of years before you...
Yeah, and podcasting was on at, like, every single meeting, but, like, no progress was being made on it. So I was like, you know, I'll take over this.
Yeah, you just did
See what I do. And I'm like, what's stopping me from just making a fucking podcast? Like, we have the equipment. I now know how to use it, right? What's stopping me from just doing a weekly fucking podcast? Cam, are you interested? Cam says yes. I'm like, okay. What's stopping us from just doing it? What's stopping us from just doing it every week? And then we just fucking do it. It's like, it's really quite easy.
Yeah.
Straight up. I don't want to say that to be like, you know, if you're like nervous about it or whatnot, that's fine. Like, it is like a big thing. I tell like
You're putting yourself out there,
yeah.
right? You're making a recording of your own voice for people to listen to. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know, it takes a bit of effort and whatnot. But yeah, if you're interested in making podcasts, like go for it. We have the equipment. The equipment's for everyone in the club.
Yeah, like if you need to let us know, we can like run you through it ourselves.
Yeah,
as well.
like literally, message.
I have now taught others to do this.
Yeah, message me, Cam, or Cowan, other people in the club who know.
Hell, just ask on the Discord. Someone will.
Yeah.
Someone will be able to help. But like we'll jump on there. Someone will ping us.
And yeah, we could get your own podcast going. It doesn't have to be a regular weekly podcast. If you want to make a podcast that's like literally one episode, go for it. Like
if every time you see a movie, you're like, I want to just record my thoughts with a buddy.
Yeah, if you wanna make a podcast that's just fucking what are people's names that aren't in UniSFA? Is there anyone McGregorston and Doug's movie thoughts?
I really hope we get a fresher Doug. That would be the best.
McGregorson and Doug's movie thoughts, and you literally just record it intermittently, like whenever you watch a movie. That's probably fine. I'm saying probably because I need to check with the committee about that, but like probably fine asterisks.
Yeah. If it's not fine, it's not on you. It's on. Like,
if you want to record like a 3-part podcast, that's actually that's actually you retelling your RPG story, like as an audio, like play or something. Go for it. Audio plays are something which was intended to be done, but is very hard to do.
Oh my god. Should do a play-by-play commentary of the Warhammer games that I do.
Oh, that'd be cool.
No, I guess if you were to do it in post, with like you writing down every single thing that happened and then commenting on it quicker.
Yeah. We could do a UniSFA podcast that's like a live RPG session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like that's actually something that we plan to do, not as UniSFA, but I almost did a good few years back now, the Idiot Garden. Which, like, we ran a whole campaign to check if the gang would work, but we never got the technical side of things together. Yeah, that's...
I think you could do, like, a fun one-shot.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I was like, RPG, I'm like, what RPG could you do? And I was in Tactics today, and saw an RPG I quite liked playing once. And it was the first thought that came to my mind of, I should suggest that people record them playing Alice is Missing, which... The thing about that RPG is that it's a silent RPG you play on your phone. So it would just be really silence.
I didn't know that. That sounds interesting.
I had played it once. So it's like 60 minutes. You have a timer.
Yeah.
And it's all silent. You have like a character, whatnot. You play it on your phones. How we did it is, it was like a Discord server. And we had like a public chat, and then we had like secret chats, which were like the DMs between each player.
Okay, so
you weren't like
you got your pester chum.
Yeah, basically, and you didn't have to like actually DM the person in like actual DMs. You could just use this channel, which only you two of you could see, and then like you could like uncover them all at the end and see what people did. And you have like a timer. It has like this custom-made music that plays as you're going through it.
Also, if that works, I should use that for if I ever run Homestuck RPG.
It's really good. Cool. And you can, like, over the course of the game, at certain points, you'll, like, flip cards, which give you, like, clues about what's happening, and it, like, progresses the story, and you, like, discuss it all in the chat.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't work in podcast form as, like, a live play. Although I do think live play is a bit of a trap, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as a live play podcast. Right, like there probably is, but the big ones aren't actually edited, that. Right? Yeah, they're heavily edited. And
if you're listening to a live play like RPG podcast, and it's not like half of it isn't like silence or like just the sound of dice rolling,
or just fucking around.
Yeah, right? I mean, I think fucking around's part of an RPG
to a degree, but
to a degree, yeah.
I think the amount of fucking around that goes on in your average session is probably more than you
like
on a podcast.
Yeah, and none of the things have like a bit where like, oh guys, I'm just getting a drink.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Let's break for dinner.
Yeah, I mean. They have breaks in, like, Critical Role, I think.
Yeah, but you don't hear them, I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know. I've never actually listened to Critical Role much.
I haven't listened to it too much. It wasn't for me.
I can't do podcasts, as I've mentioned.
What else thoughts about the podcast do we have?
I don't know. I think like, going on, right? Because we're not going to be here forever.
Yeah, what do you think about the podcast in the future? And it's like goals.
I would love to hand this to different UniSFAs, right?
Yeah.
Like even if just one of us like tags out at a time, but to keep like a constant chain of this going, would be really good.
That'd be cool. Like a legacy podcast. Yeah. Like this podcast has been handed to me by the UniSFAs of generations past, who were handed to them from the generations of UniSFAs past. I like that idea to
Well, it's a way of keeping like the UniSFA generational gap like a little bit better connected, right? Like I've brought in a few people who aren't around much anymore, and then like once I've tagged out, you'd be able to bring in people who aren't around as much anymore.
Yeah, I'm just nervous about bringing my friends on the podcast.
Yeah, you gotta just do it, man.
Yeah,
I love meeting people.
But I like this podcast. Or one of my goals or like visions of what this podcast is like, people listen or actively in the club. It generates some discussion. But a big part of this for me is the fact we are uploading. They're on the Discord, they're on the Facebook, they're on the YouTube. And like the idea of in 5 or 6 years' time, right, someone new joining the club and going back and listening to these
that would
is
be
like one of the main motivators for me of like, connecting that divide, but maybe less like physically of getting new people on the podcast and more just like I don't know if there's any.
Well, it's like when we find the scrapbooks every now and then.
Yeah,
right? We get to look back through time that way.
Yeah, like we found a scrapbook, the 30th anniversary scrapbook for UniSFA, which was made in 2008 apparently.
Yeah,
I asked Winslade about it, and he said, "Yeah, I think they made that scrapbook the year I was a fresher."
Because the 42nd was recent, so that lines up.
We'll hit the 50th in this decade.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll hit the 50th in, 2028?
That lines up?
Yeah. And when I was uploading the first ever, like when I got access to the UniSFA YouTube and was uploading this podcast onto the YouTube, there is a recording of a very old like committee meeting or something that's like edited on the thing. I'll show it to you after. It's privated, so you have to be like on committee to see it. And I don't really want to make it public.
No, that's
like,
fair.
It's been hidden.
It's an old record, and it wasn't something they intended for like public consumption.
Yeah, but it's like it's
a neat thing.
I don't know. I only ever meet these old people for UniSFA through the scrapbooks, through that old video, through like the things they've written on the back of the books, right? And I think this is like
this is that.
This is that, but I think it'll feel like it's the best version of that because you're getting like conversations, you're getting how people talk, you're getting their interests, you're getting like.
Content that's like interesting at this point in time in the zeitgeist.
You're
right?
not just getting like snapshots of what they look like or something. Well, you're not really getting what we look like here. You're just getting our voices.
Well, you're getting a bit of the culture, right?
Yeah, exactly. Though I don't know, it's biased because it's
like looking back and laughing at the fashion sense of people decades ago.
I mean, if you're listening to this from the future, you're mostly just getting what me and Cam are like in 2022. Mostly, but I hope you get some other things about it too. Who's around in the club, because a lot of the people we have on this are active members or semi-active members.
What kind of shit did we think was worth talking about?
Yeah, like what does the D&D discussion or the Star Wars discussion look like?
Oh, I would love for the D&D discussion to be irrelevant in the future because of the reasons I want.
Doubt it. Star Wars discussion, maybe it'll be better. Andor's pretty good. I started watching that this week. Andor's pretty fucking
Andor
good.
is apparently really good, and I do intend to watch it maybe at some point. But
Andor. Okay, I'll make one comment about Andor, which is Andor is the first time I've seen Star Wars. The thing I noticed about Andor is how like death is handled, which is there has been deaths in Andor, and every single one of them is handled with like a gravity that you don't see much in Star Wars. People fucking die in that show, and people and it's like it weighs on people. I've only watched the first 3 episodes, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's I haven't seen any, but I'm going to say something now that's going to sound a little bit bitter, but every time that they make something that's good, it justifies all of the bad things that they make for a little bit longer. And I think that's it's good that they made something good, right?
Yeah.
I am not upset about that, but I am just like, goddamn, if only they put this much love and care into
all
their
of
flagship
them, right.
content and also making new things.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, I have to be grumpy lately.
I think it's good that it's like finally something's good come out of this, right? Like, would you sacrifice the hive swaps to get rid of all the epilogues in the Homestuck 2s?
Yes.
Really?
Make other shit.
What do you mean by make other shit?
Well, like, there's an issue at the moment, and I hope, again, for those of you in the future, I hope this is something that's been solved or like improved upon, but it's really hard at the moment in creative industries to justify making something new. Anytime people try and do so, they get a lot of stonewalling for they can't be sure it'll make money yet. Especially with Netflix, meaning, and so everything is streamed now, so you get to sell it to the streaming company once, right? You get your movie release, you get your big like ticket sales for a cinema, but you don't get the DVD release anymore.
like
You don't get that
Morbius.
long-term
Morbius,
purchasing,
you
right?
get the big...
Well, the thing is that nobody's buying DVDs, right?
Yeah.
So if it makes money at the cinema, and then it gets sold to some streaming.
Yeah.
Which means that they can't make something designed to be good long-term, right? They have to make something that's good to watch at the cinema, but also they can't risk something not being good.
Yeah.
And so if something isn't proven already, if something is like off the wall, crazy, wild, new,
Yeah.
it's never going to get greenlit because they can't take that sort of budgetary risk with the amount that
And
costs
it's like
to make a big list thing now.
Yeah, if you're subscribing to like a streaming service, right? You're either already subscribed to it, right? And it's like, I'm going to watch this show or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I guess it might help if you watch something new and it's good. You might be, I don't know, it ticks a box in your brain of like, okay, this has made me feel slightly better about the streaming service, so I'm more likely to subscribe. But I think a lot of them, or at least get it by like, oh, I really want to watch this one show, so I'm going to subscribe to it. And if it's like, oh, there's a new Star Wars show, well, I'm going to try that out, right? You subscribe to it, and that's where they get the money. Versus, oh, this show's, I've heard this show's good, but is it like, if it's not something they've recognized, maybe it's not enough to get them to subscribe to it, and that's why they keep going back to things.
Well, especially because, it used to be, if you liked something a lot, you'd want to watch it without ads, you'd get a DVD of it, right?
Yeah.
But now, that's just not, that doesn't work. And it really pushes things. And it's not just like movies, it's TV, it's video games as well. It's so hard to greenlight big quality content that's new. Even the new what's it called? The new Knives Out movie, right? He didn't want to put, Rian Johnson, the director, didn't want to put a Knives Out movie on the title for it. He was forced to, because without that recognition, they didn't think it'd sell as well, which is probably true. But yeah, like everything has to be a sequel or a spin-off or a remake, and it's gruesome.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Why does it need to be overheard in UniSFA? Why a UniSFA podcast? Why can't it just be overheard in something else? I don't understand why they had to tie it into the UniSFA just to sell. Oh my god. I wonder if we will. I wonder if some point, like, at some point, we will just like make our own podcasts. Are we allowed to talk about this? This isn't betrayal, right?
It's fine. We're not the official UniSFA podcast anyway.
I'm just saying, like, I guess if at some point we're not really affiliated with the club anymore, of like, I don't know, maybe if we're older, but we still want a podcast.
I mean, something that I've learned, like, with Morbius as well, right?
Metamorphosis,
Metamorphosis. I have things going on, right? Like a podcast is a surprising amount of commitment, and I'm not the guy that edits either of the podcasts, right? Like that's not something I have I could learn to do it, but I haven't.
Yeah. I think Jack puts a lot more work into editing that podcast than I do this one.
It's also a lot shorter, but like it's a lot of work to get one of these done, right? But I was making this one for fun, and for both of them for fun. I'm just sort of doing it because it's fun to hang out with people.
Yeah, no,
and
that's
having
great
that recorded doesn't make too much of a difference to that for me.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think just like doing podcasts is something that I don't know if I would like actively pursue it if it was not nearby, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure about
something
that
I like
either.
being part of.
I quite like podcasts, and I find audio editing a little bit satisfying.
I think it's like with video games, playing a game with your buds is more fun.
Yeah.
If people are doing a podcast, I'm having fun with it
because your buds are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't think I could talk to myself for any length of time and be particularly interesting to listen to.
Fair enough.
It's like having people around.
I think another thing is, like, how long will this podcast go? Because it's not going forever. I for some reason I've got like 50 episodes. It's going to keep going, then when we hit 50 episodes, I'm going to ask myself this question again. But I don't know. I feel like at some point no one will listen to this anymore.
That's okay.
And that's okay. And then, we'll have our peaceful end. That's kind of how I'm imagining this going. And I don't know when that will be. If, we'll see. At 50 episodes, I suspect there will be less listeners.
We can also try just like radically different
pessimistic,
formats for things.
Yeah.
Especially like right now, over the holidays, when we've got like nothing particularly going on.
Yeah.
There's not people already here as well, which makes it difficult. If someone's going to come in, they have to actively come in for this.
I did choose the 2 host, 1 guest format kind of completely arbitrarily. I think it's worked pretty alright.
It's worked alright, yeah.
I know I base this podcast, or at least my vision for this podcast, a lot on another of my favorite podcasts, which is the Triforce podcast, which is 3 members of the Yogs cast, if you know them, just sitting and talking about random shit. They usually just end up talking about movies or whatnot. And it has no correct vision. It's just the same 3 people every week, like just joking and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I feel like this podcast has somewhat achieved that goal of being like that podcast. And somewhat not, because when you have a rotating guest, right? Like, you don't have like the same chemistry for every guest, and also like we don't have like the 10 years of friendship that these people do. And also, I don't know, I felt like as a podcast that's tied to UniSFA, we kind of like have moved ourselves in a direction, or felt like to. For me,
we want it to be UniSFA related.
Yeah,
podcast
so we do
kind
of talk about sci-fi and fantasy and role-playing games,
which works out, because that's a lot of what brings us together as people that we know.
Yeah,
yeah, I know what you mean.
I think I think especially with like episode 9 is an episode which has less of that and has like more just talking about random stuff. And I think I'd like to have that in the podcast. I should say this now, and I might say it at the start as well. I might edit in. It's like, audience, you're listening. If you have any feedback, me and Cam are not super attached to like kind of how things are done in the podcast right now. We don't have a super clear vision or a goal.
We've been doing this for 20 weeks, and now is a good chance for like, we've seen if we know that what we're doing is something we can do. Yeah. But we also need to know if it's something that we need to be doing differently in ways.
Yeah, or even not need to be different. If you're just a listener to this podcast and you just think, I think it'd be cool if you tried this, we like
let us know.
Post, comment on the YouTube, like and subscribe, hit the bell as well. Leave a like if you like. No, like I don't know, send an email to the UniSFA committee, post it on the Discord randomly, DM me or Cam. Comment on a Facebook thing, or like message one of us on Facebook, or like come out to our house, or send us a physical mail, or comment on the YouTube, and just be like, I don't know, give us ideas. Like
and I know it's pretty vague, but like for specific things, I mean, one thing I'd like to know is, would it be worth us doing like a shorter podcast but editing it more heavily? Would that be better for you guys? That's a lot of work that I don't want to put onto John, but I'd be happy to like do a lot of that as well, right? I can't imagine editing a nearly 2-hour-long podcast. That sounds like a nightmare. But if we shortened it, like that's definitely something.
Or
that's on the
even
cards.
if it's not something you have feedback on, even like feedback, I don't know, feels a lot like, I think this is bad for this reason, and I think you should do this. You can literally just be like, I like this part. I like Cam's jokes. I like RPG stories. I like that one bit about the bus and. literally any thought or opinion you have about this podcast, as long as it's not like physical attack that or it could somehow be put in a useful manner. If you just say like, fuck you, Cam, you stole my milk.
No, they can do that. That's fair.
Okay. Be nice.
If they want to physically fight me, come to my house and get my address. And
did you win the D&D argument, by the way? Like, did anyone come up to you? Like, you know how you said you've got like a week? The audience has got like a week to like combat you in D&D, or you're like the winner? I think you won.
It rings a bell. I don't remember if anyone actually messaged me about it. I'm going to assume I've won.
Yeah.
Certainly they didn't kill me, so I'm still standing.
Yeah. I think another thing is like changing the format. Maybe we won't have a rotating guest. Maybe we'll just like change to 3 people. Or maybe we will like, I don't know, we could just like have Merlin on the podcast permanently. Or alternatively, another thought is like rotating it more. Maybe we're on the podcast list, because I think it'd be interesting to get like more combinations of people.
I think, because I do think having it weekly is really important for keeping that momentum up and making sure that it keeps getting made, right? If we were to start missing weeks here and there, it'd be very easy for that to become... But if we make sure it happens every week, but rotate that, like, who's on, that could definitely work.
Yeah. Or another thing we've considered, I think, is like having... I don't know. Currently... The way of picking guests has mostly just been like, who's a person we know roughly that in like kind of Cam Hall community who hasn't been on the podcast yet. And we usually only have people on again if we're filling for us or someone else. Like we had Merlin on again because Dave didn't show up. Which is
like
fine.
Getting like an official, like if you want to be on the podcast, put your name in a Google Doc for us.
Yeah, or just like having people we know like really well and like have a lot of chemistry with, whatnot. because that could theoretically make it more entertaining, you know? Because we don't know everyone the same, and we don't...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially because, like, I'm not fucking around anymore, you know? I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm barely on campus once a week, and it's usually for this. Even when, like, semester's happening.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think vision for this podcast is keep making it every week. Switch up the format somehow. Try some new things.
We can do some goofy, like, one-offs.
Yeah, we could do some... I think it'd be fun to do some, like, bonus episodes, right? I don't know what they'd be. Overheard UniSFA RPG session, yeah. Overheard UniSFA, reads the Homestuck intermission. I don't know. Overheard UniSFA watch, like, something...
Yeah, Overheard somewhere else where we go film on location.
Yeah, we go to the cinema. We go Metamorphosis style. We record our thoughts before and after.
Well, like we could just fuck around. We could if people have if people want to hear us do a fucking let's play, we have the most of the setup to do that, if not all.
Oh my god, what would we even play?
Fucking video game.
I reckon we should do a let's play of Team Fortress 2. I think we should.
Yeah, no, that's... Look, I would be willing to try it. I don't think a Team Fortress 2 Let's Play would be bad. I mean, people have done it, right? I think we should
complete Team Fortress 2.
The issue is that I'm bad at it.
The amount of fucking TF2, like, videos. I swear... Maybe it's just because I'm Mike on the internet, but I swear TF2 content creation is at an all-time high.
TF2 taught a lot of people to make content.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good point.
Like, Source Filmmaker was huge. No one else just fucking released that. Like,
I'm not even talking about, like, Source Filmmaker animations. I'm just talking about, like, people release so many videos, like, analyzing the game and whatnot, or talking about the different weapons or cosmetics or economy of it.
Part of that is the YouTube algorithm. But it is also,
it's
like,
probably
it's a game that really held people's hearts.
It really, yeah. And it's still getting some replay. Go out there and play TF2. And also give us feedback on the podcast. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like I want to make the Overheard UniSFA less SFA sometimes.
Yeah. And
more like my original vision of the Triforce podcast.
I do want to do a proper, like, recorded Homestuck voice.
Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be Overheard UniSFA. That would just be, like...
that would be, like, a different thing. But, like... Well, I don't know, because that's something that we've done in person in UniSFA a few times, is just read Homestuck live.
I'm planning on doing it next year. I said all of this year that I'd do it next year, and I kind of wavered from that. I felt like people would say to me in the year, like, oh, John, you know, I'm really excited for the Homestuck screening next year, because I was so excited about early in the year.
I don't think you do it every year.
No, every second year is what I was planning on doing. That was my goal, every second year. And people doing that, I'm like, John, am I really going to do this, like, for an entire year again? And we're really spend
worst
every
case,
Monday?
It doesn't work.
But I've kind of been rejuvenated of... Yeah. No, I think it will work. That's why I've been rejuvenated of, like, a lot of people have told me they're excited for it.
Yeah.
Or at least it feels like a lot of people are excited. And there will be a lot of people. And that makes me want to do it, like, quite bad. And I hope people go there and also do the voices, because I don't know if you'll be there and Merlin will be there. And we did a lot of the voices. Or, like, Chase will be there. And I feel like between the four of us, we did, like, most of the voices.
Well, yeah. But, like, be there so that you can do voices.
Yeah, like, have fun voice acting.
I was doing a lot of voices because I was there a lot.
Yeah, you did some really great voices, and I'm going to, like... People are going to do different voices, and I have to stop myself from being like, that's not how Cam and Merlin would do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to I'm going to claim monopoly over Dave, just so I can make sure that the voice is like yours. Can you give me, like, voice training lessons on how to do... like a Boston accent? Yeah,
you can get training wheels attached to your throat.
Okay.
They don't help.
They don't help.
No, it hurts a lot and has no benefits, but you can do it.
I mean, like, it's
also
kind of
very
it's
expensive.
Not that different from, like, getting a tattoo, right?
No, tattoos look nice.
Yeah, but
training wheels on the throat don't.
I mean, maybe for you.
Fair enough.
I think you just need to get used to them, Cam. Embrace... As soon as I realized the weakness of this neck, and that a large metal bolt would probably go through it and be able to attach training wheels, I knew what I had to do. How's your Christmas, Cam? That's the next thing on my list. I actually even wrote a list, like normal.
My household was in isolation over Christmas, which is, you know, it happens. We're all right now. But I had a good time. It's been hot enough that I couldn't be upstairs playing video games much because our house is not very well. It's insulated well enough, I guess. It doesn't. It gets really
warm.
fucking hot upstairs. Is the thing. And that's where all our computers are set up. So I've been downstairs a lot, and I've finally been painting, as I mentioned earlier. Jack and I played our first actual game of Warhammer yesterday.
I was really hoping you were going to say L5R for a second.
No, I'm sorry. We should do that, though.
I gifted, or I didn't gift. I'm letting
Cam
and Jack borrow
your
my copy of the L5R card game.
Yeah.
To play sometime.
I will need to fucking relearn how to play that to teach Jack.
Oh, you should.
I know, it is worth it. I should do that.
The game is a rules thing. You're going to need to probably search up the definitive rules as well. Actually, I could probably send you a
I'm sure it's
YouTube
in there somewhere as well. Like I'll remember it once I start.
Yeah. My Christmas was hectic. I went for a hat trick of 3 different Christmas parties.
Good God.
And of my stepdad's family, my mom's family, and then my dad's like cousin's family. And people actually got me presents, which I just wasn't expecting. And I mentioned to my little sister once that I'm getting more into reading graphic novels, and then 3 out of 5 of my presents are graphic novels. That's what happens. You mention you're interested in something, they get it. Including like I think the first ever Tintin.
Oh, nice.
Which is like Tintin reporter in the Soviet Union as reporter. Nice. That's like the actual name, by the way. As a reporter for some French name. I also watched the Star Wars Holiday Special on Monday. That's what the screening was.
Nice.
Have you ever watched that?
I don't know if I've seen it all the way through in one sitting, but I've seen all the individual chunks of it, I think.
Yeah, it is kind of a lot of individual chunks. It is
I may have seen it once, but I may have also... I may have seen it fully once, but I may have also been, absolutely plastered at the time.
Best way to experience it.
Only way.
I enjoyed it without being plastered.
No, that's fair.
Arrest me, plastered Star Wars Holiday Special, please. What was I gonna say? It's fucking weird. It has so many cameos and weird shit. It's full of it's full of these characters which I want to strangle with my bare hands as the main characters. Then a bunch of cameos where the actors are not trying.
Yes.
It has Han Solo and Chewbacca and Luke and Leia and all the actors, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. They are not trying. They're I fucking hate this. I don't want to be here.
Yeah. It wasn't made because they wanted it to be good. It was made
because they wanted a Star Wars holiday special.
To get a little bit of bonus cash for that little holiday special. And I honestly, if it wasn't I'm sure it was, it couldn't have been. It must have been filmed between 4 and 5, right? But
no, it was filmed between. Maybe.
No, because Mark Hamill was just out of surgery.
It was filmed between. Yeah. So I thought you meant in.
Sorry. Where I was going is it's. I'm surprised in a way it didn't tank the fucking franchise.
I mean, probably not that many people saw it. It was shown on TV once and then never reproduced.
Yeah, okay, that would have helped.
The one we were watching was a YouTube video, which was someone had recorded on their TV, and it was just that recording. The video starts with "The Incredible Hulk will not be showing this evening."
Yeah, and it does give me the vibe of it's not like other Christmas specials are notoriously good. Christmas specials like that are bad. It's just that this one survived because it's the Star Wars one,
and it's
real bad.
It's so out of character for Star Wars as well. There's so many bits where they just cut to something that isn't the Star Wars holiday special. There's a bit where it's just an independent Star Wars animation story, which I believe is the first time Boba Fett is shown in the Star Wars universe. Boba Fett's debut was in the Star Wars holiday special in an animation.
And there's the droids bit. There's a bit which just is about this lady in a cantina trying to get people out. There's it's a Christmas special.
There's a performance by Starship Jefferson, and this other singer. Oh, it's so bad.
It's not good.
It's so bad.
Life Day is canon now, though.
It is. Yeah, it is canon. Isn't it mentioned in
The Mandalorian?
Movie? Yeah. What was I gonna say? I think if you happen to already be plastered or you're with some friends, I think it's good.
Oh yeah, I think it's definitely worth checking out for a laugh.
I think it's bad enough that it's good.
You need friends there. Yeah. It's not bad enough to watch alone.
No, but it's bad enough that if there are friends there, you can joke about how annoying Itchy is. Yeah,
you've got to like Star Wars enough for it to hurt, for it to be fun.
I started watching Andor just because I finished watching Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm like, fuck. I want to know what good Star Wars is like, because it's been so long. The last Star Wars, I never watched The Mandalorian. So the last Star Wars,
it's about
things
a dude who's also a car with gull wings. It's the Mandalorian. He's the DeLorean man.
DeLorean.
This is the best joke I'm gonna make.
No, that's a DeLorean with arms and legs that like stands up and walks around as a person. DeLorean man. Or is
but the Mandalorian is a man who's the car.
Yeah.
The car who's the man is the DeLorean man.
Yeah, of course. I think my last... not my last interactions with Star Wars, but the last Star Wars things I watched were probably... Before Andor was probably a Star Wars Holiday Special and probably episode fucking 9.
One day I'll watch episode 9, but I will not enjoy it.
Oh, you haven't seen episode 9. What are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm intending on... I have my day planned, I guess. I'm going to be playing some fucking Warhammer.
Dang
it.
What if
some people I've been planning to play Warhammer with for a year, but I've only just finally gotten my army to the point where I can.
Dang it. No Star Wars episode 9 for Cam.
Thank God.
I'm
safe for one more day.
I need to hear you rage at it.
I don't know. The thing is that I think I've gotten to the point where I won't even be... It's not true. I can say this now because it's not in front of me. I'm like, right now I feel like I would just be resigned and like... I would just be like, ugh. But I don't know.
When did you watch episode 8? How long ago was it?
I watched it in cinemas originally.
Yeah, maybe you might just not more after that. Anything.
No, like I remember episode 8 because I've run through the plot of it a few times when I've been discussing like
episode 8 is good.
Episode 8 was visually really good. We're not getting into this again. We've been through this on the podcast.
This is going to be the final episode of the podcast if we get into episode 8.
Star Wars Resurrection and special. Star Wars is risen.
The Overheard of UniSFA memorial episode. The other thing we screened this week was Twin Peaks.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because I've been wanting to screen that for a while. Every committee meeting for the past, month has been like, I'm going to screen Twin Peaks at some point. And we finally got around to it.
It's so good.
It's really good. Yeah, we've only watched the first 3 episodes of season 1, so do not spoil shit.
I don't want to spoil anything. I do want to say, like...
Wait, I want to set the scene for the audience. Twin Peaks was a 90s... murder mystery set in the small town of Twin Peaks in America as the washed up body of Laura Palmer
gets investigated.
And I think it's one of those...
It became like a cult classic.
It became one of the cult classics, and it's one of those things that created the term Lynchian.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was the big David Lynch production.
Wait, I want to switch to what Lynchian means.
So the thing is... Wait, it means it's like a David Lynch production.
Lynch's characteristic reminiscent or image of the films or television work of David Lynch, which I knew. Lynch is noted for juxtaposing surreal or sinister elements with mundane, everyday environments, and for using compelling visual images to emphasize a dreamlike quality of mystery or menace.
It's what Riverdale tries to be. Yeah. So hard.
Riverdale. If you watch Riverdale and you were like, what if they made this and their intention was succeeded and was good? That's my interpretation.
Riverdale has an episode called Lynchian where they try and be like, we're that good. We're paying homage to David Lynch and we're not.
I don't even remember that episode, but I know what the answer is.
Yeah.
Answer is no, they are not.
Okay, so seasons 1 and 2 of Twin Peaks. Season 1's really, really good. There was some production issues with like towards the end of it, which caused season 2 to like change a little bit. Season 2 is also pretty good. Season 3.
There isn't a season 3.
There is a season 3.
Oh yeah, wasn't it released like a couple years ago?
A couple years ago. It was released 20 years or so after season 2.
I've heard it's okay.
And it was not like this was not like a reboot, right? This was it's not spoilers to say this was actually planned from the start.
What, 20 years after?
Yes. So
what?
So a character near the end of season 2 looks into the fucking camera and says, "I'll see you in 20 years." Or
no
like 20
fucking
years.
way.
I'm not even kidding. It's incredible. And like Twin Peaks is grim. It's grim, it's gruesome, and it is surrounded by idyllic, like wonderful, nice things and characters that are really nice to see, but like it's brutal, but it's really well written. The thing is with season 3 though.
Yeah.
Is that David Lynch is 2 decades more jaded by the industry. The conversation around the season 3 ending, and I'm not going to like spoil anything. It's I've had long conversations with Jack about this. Is the fact that it's bad on purpose good?
Interesting.
Like, season 3 is bad on purpose. But not like you know when, like, you know, you get your movie that's hilariously bad and then they make a sequel that's the same kind of bad but on purpose and it's bad? Like, you know, Birdemic 2, this time we're making it bad on purpose, and it's like, well, that's no fun, right? It doesn't have that heart. Season 3 of Twin Peaks it's not good. It is in fact bad. But it's bad on purpose as a commentary. Right? It is, like, David Lynch is, like, making a thing that is bad for a reason. And that's a really interesting artistic concept. Personally, I would prefer if he made something good. I would love to see the Twin Peaks season 3 he wanted to make that without him becoming so jaded that he decided to do this instead.
So your interpretation is Twin Peaks is bad. Twin Peaks season 3 specifically is bad, and it would have been better if it was good.
No. Right? That sounds uncontroversial. No, it's that Twin Peaks season 3 is bad on purpose in a way that is good.
Uh-huh.
But I would have preferred it had he made something good.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. Like, it's, you've got the option of, like, so bad it's good or good that it's good, and you would have taken the good that it's good.
No, it's not so bad that it's good. We're not talking about that here. We're talking he made it bad.
Okay.
It's not good.
What do you mean by bad? Like,
without spoilers, what if the ending was... Okay, it spends... You get to the last episode, and a bunch of things happen, and you're watching the fucking bar going, there's not enough time for the things that it needs to be... Okay. It fucks with you real heavily. It spends the first... all but the last 2 episodes with the main plot being, like, completely uninteractable, right? One of the main characters is effectively in a coma. You're watching him walk around amnesiac for the first all but the last 2 episodes of the season.
Yeah.
Doing stuff that doesn't matter, right? And it's wonderful. Twin Peaks doesn't matter, right? He's doing stuff. It's fun to watch in its own way, but it's nothing to do with what you're here for after a thing that you've waited 20 years to make, right? And 80 to 90% of the season is fucking filler on purpose. And then the ending is a mix of deeply unsatisfying in a way that is like, yeah, you wanted the ending to be like this literal, okay. Like, the ending is bad in a way that is like, this is what the producers asked for, and I'm pointing out how stupid they are.
I'm so... I can feel my brain cells, like, slowly exploding as you're...
There was a moment...
I need to watch this.
There was an episode, I think it's episode 8 of season 3, where David Lynch was threatened by the producers. Like, they were like, we're going to pull this. This is bad. Like, you can't just release this episode. He said, no. Every second... is critical, right? He refused to have that at all, and I respect that because him putting his foot down there was the right move. But he was also making this bad on purpose. Episode 8 actually, I think, was a wonderful, like, really artistic episode that I think was the most important and best episode of the show. And that's the one that they tried to
the entire show.
Definitely of the season. Of the entire show is harder to say because it's wildly different than the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 3 is like... It's not doing what you want from season 3 of a show that's good, right? You watch 2 seasons of a mystery show, and you get your 3rd season after a long wait, going, alright, let's get some answers to some things, right? By the same guy, made with intention. It's not like they rebooted or made a sequel, 20 years later to make money,
it was a
right?
Reboot.
No, it's the same, like, it's a continuation that was intended from the start. Or at least from, like, when they finished season 2, they meant to do this.
Yeah.
And there's, like, shots that prove it, right? There's scenes that they had to have filmed back when they were filming seasons 1 and 2.
Wow.
Right? And and it's made with such heartfelt like performances as well. Like there are actors in it who are old and like actively dying during filming of season 3 that were like, no, I have to be there, I'm doing it.
Wow.
And I believe some of them did die during production. And they put so much heart into it, but it is bad. It's the end. Like,
Cam, you're laying in me another mystery of.
It's something that I can't talk about without spoilers, right? But it basically, what if the villain of something that's been set up for decades now, and a villain that's of like a
I think you're gonna spoil it, Cam. I feel like you're gonna spoil it. I don't want that. Can we discuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Can we
not,
discuss?
Yeah.
What you've brought up is: does a film need to be satisfying to be good? Because I watched a film recently, Return to Seoul, which was an incredibly long. It wasn't that long, but it felt very drawn out. It was a very tense, kind of uncomfortable movie to watch, and it ended in such a unsatisfying way. And I looked at that film, and I came to the conclusion that it had to be a good film, or it was a good film, but not in that it made me feel like satisfaction or happiness or excitement or enthusiasm. The film made me. It was like almost a horror movie, and the film made me feel tense, uncomfortable. Like there was like a pain in my gut watching it, and just. Like horrid emotions, but it did fill me with those emotions.
Twin Peaks also does that.
Yeah.
There is an unsatisfying ending that is okay, right? There is an unsatisfying and like somewhat ambiguous ending that I think is fine, and if it was just that, it would be okay. But it's couched in some of the most egregious bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
I really want to change topics because I really don't want to be spoiled.
No, that's fair.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions? I think this is the final. You know what? We can do final thoughts being New Year's resolutions, or at least final thoughts. Prompt New Year's resolutions. We've been going for an hour. It's two guests. We don't need a full length episode. A little small episode on the side.
Ooh.
Like a little bit of baked beans and a little pot on your big breakfast.
Ooh.
Ooh.
New Year's resolution, huh? I want to be more patient with things that I like doing.
Nice.
I don't know. It's a painting thing mostly. Is that like I find myself getting impatient with stuff. I'm like I want it to be done, and I want to be able to like see that it's finished. Yeah. But you've got to wait with these. That you can't do it quicker.
If you do it quicker, it's just not going to be the same, is it?
It's going to be worse.
Yeah. New Year's resolution. Hard. I think I've got.
I'm thinking 4K.
Huh? 4K. I'm thinking 2K. I'm thinking 2K. Basketball game.
I was thinking about the basketball game.
Yeah,
so I'm glad I'm the only
one. I don't know. I feel like I could do a really cheesy one, but I'm trying to think of one that isn't that.
You did this to yourself.
I fucking did do this to myself. Cam, tell a joke.
Oh, God.
Tell a joke while I'm thinking of things. I'm sorry, Cam. That was the most torturous thing I can do to
I'm running through 5 jokes now, and I'm like, I can't just
Okay, can
say
you
a
combine
joke.
them?
No.
I walked to the... The less I know, the better.
Can you sum up in a word? No. A sound?
My news resolution is going to be really generic, and I'm going to say have more self-compassion.
Oh, I can go for a generic one as well if you'd like.
No, you can do a generic one. Sure.
Alright, I'm going to fucking get some fucking running shorts so I can use the gym at work after work.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you want my running shorts? I don't really run much anymore.
Oh, I gotta go get some.
Maybe my New Year's resolution should...
shorts.
You know what? Yeah, our New Year's resolutions are...
I bought a pair and I lost them. I don't know where they fucking went.
Our New Year's resolution is to start running, and mine will be exercise as well. Do some exercise. Maybe we'll get a bike or something.
I gotta start doing fucking exercise.
Ugh.
Right?
Hot
I don't want to, but I gotta.
Vocal exercise, not enough.
don't do vocal exercise. You think I warm up?
What do you mean? What do you think this podcast is?
This is me talking.